Welcome to Way of the Kill, where my weekly show where I show you kills from either Star Citizen, or in this case Elite Dangerous, and break down the analyses of me versus them, and what went right, what went wrong, to give people a better idea of just how the dogfight unfolds. Now, I had been to the federal security, or the federal distress call in Iran, and previously to this, and had gotten insta-popped by a pair of Cobra Mark III's PvP that were operating in the area. So I went back to base, reloaded, or got my insurance ship, came back, and this is really the second time technically out of dock with multi-cannons. I was trying them out. I had been using pulse lasers up until this point. And the 15 minutes prior to this, I wasn't really liking them, wasn't really digging them. So when I started to take fire there, I immediately went into a defensive maneuver and tried to ascertain what the situation was. Turns out here was PvP. I'm still not 100% sure if he was trying to baby seal club or not, or attack new players, relatively new players. But I decided that since I was the eagle there, I stood the best chance of engaging him and winning. So I went ahead and made that call, and as you can see here, as we're kind of scissoring back and forth, I basically, we scissor back and forth a few times here. I have the edge and maneuverability, and he dies. I think we got 2 more passes here. 1 pass. He flies, yep. And then this should be all she wrote. Nope, wait, I think there's 1 more after this. Nope, this is all she wrote. Alright, so let's look at ship statistics here. I'm flying an Eagle. I have an edge and maneuverability. I've got 3 versus 4 guns, and I'm not sure if my armor and shields are quite what he has. He's flying a Cobra Mark III. He does not have maneuverability, but he definitely have an advantage in weapons. So what were keys to success? 1, situational awareness. I knew there had been hostile PvP operating in the area. And I made kind of that, kept aware of that situation. 2, track IR. I was able to keep visual contact on him at almost all times during the engagement. And we'll see how that plays a critical factor later on here. 3 is the loadout. Actually, the multi-cannons, I think, helped me here, because since I didn't have to put energy into weapons, they were all into engines and then systems or shields, essentially. And then the opponent may have made a very critical mistake, and we'll go through that on the 3rd playthrough here very shortly, and I'll point out that mistake, because I'm not 100% sure on that. So here we go again. I'm engaging an NPC fighter here, and as I'm going through here, I just see 2 Dorito ships. I assume they're both trying to shoot this federal fighter. I think the Cobra Mark III, since it was lining up that dead center to the Sidewinder there, was probably after the Sidewinder. Now here's where I'm not 100% sure. I get caught in crossfire. I know that there had been hostile PvP in the area. What I didn't know was I caught in friendly crossfire, hostile crossfire, or was the hostile trying to shoot at me? Not sure. But I was going to engage defensive, get out of that situation, reassess everything, rescan for targets, what I'm doing here, and then it comes up to be PvP. At this point, I have to make the decision to engage or not to engage. I'm in a ship that I'm not that familiar with flying. Weapons loadout I don't really like. However, given the angle of attack that I had, I felt that was pretty good about it. So then we have track IR. Notice here how I very rarely ever lose visual contact. And what this enables me to do versus him is I can tell when he's cutting throttle, so I can match his maneuvers. He turns left, I can adjust to compensate. He turns right, I can adjust to compensate. If you're relying on your 3D radar, you can't really do that. So, he's about to turn around here. I know it. Need to hit boost in order to close that gap to ensure he doesn't have an angle to fire and force an overshoot, just like that. So now we're basically into a scissors type engagement, which frankly, when you start to talk about 6 degrees of freedom and things of that nature, scissors and rolling scissors and vertical scissors, since there's no real vertical here, I guess it would all technically be rolling scissors, are very scissor-like maneuvers. It's something that you would see in air combat maneuvering that I wasn't expecting to see in a space combat game with near Newtonian type physics and Newtonian flight physics available. But nonetheless, that's essentially what was happening there. We had engaged in what is called rolling scissors, and if you want to look that up, I might do a tutorial or better explanation of dogfighting terms in another video. But here we go again from the beginning, and let's look at the one possibly critical mistake here. If he decided to start taking pot shots at me and was just looking for the closest target of opportunity as opposed to continuing to engage that sidewinder there, that's where he made a classic dogfighting blunder. He was one of those pilots that was like, ooh, squirrel, and just trying to hit whatever he could, whatever was in front of him. Well, if that was the case, it enabled me to basically turn around, figure out what was going on, and then engage him. Now, if he was continuing to engage that sidewinder, which from this angle it looks like he was continuing to go after that sidewinder. If that's the case, if that was his attempt, then he did not actually make a mistake there. He was doing what he was supposed to do. I just happened to spoil the fun, as it were. I would have been doing what a good wingman should have done and get him off the lead 6. So I'm not 100% sure if that was really a mistake or if it was more of a just happenstance that I just happened to get caught in crossfire and then find him and decide to engage. So I think we scissor here a couple more times. Nope. That's all she wrote there, folks. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. This is the first way of the kill, and I will be doing this each and every week. Please subscribe and like the video if you're watching on YouTube, and see you next week.